We start with Ian Lee in Minneapolis, where specifics about President Trump's promised immigration de-escalation remain elusive. So let's begin here. We learned something about the Border Patrol officers involved in the shooting of Alex Pretti and their status now. What do we know?
Well, Major, there's a lot of mixed messaging coming from the federal government. Right after that shooting, we had Border Patrol Commander Gregory Bovino saying that these agents were moved to another location, that they were still working, and that was for, he said, their protection of their identity. But now we're learning that the agents have been put on leave, and that is typical after a shooting, that federal agents would be put on leave. Now, we don't know when that was, but that goes to that mixed messaging of what is really happening, potentially why we're seeing this shakeup at the moment of leadership on this immigration operation in Minneapolis.
Speaking of mixed messaging, there were lots of representations made in the immediate aftermath of Alex Pretti's shooting, and then there was a report given to Congress. Conflicts there.
Yep. Again, we're hearing one thing and another. You have an outline in this report of what really happened, or what they say happened, where you have this confrontation. They tried to arrest him. A man yells, he has a gun. They took away his gun. And about 5 seconds after they said he had a gun, that's when you have the shots go out from two different agents. Now, they took his gun and put it in a car and disarmed it. But in the report, there's no mention that he went for his gun, he had his gun, despite right after that incident, the federal government saying that these were defensive shots from the agents. There's also a lot of questions about the evidence there. Was it handled correctly? Now, a federal judge has ordered the government to preserve all evidence, not to destroy anything, because local and state officials want to have a look too. They want a joint investigation. There's a lot of mistrust right now, and local officials just want to have a part of this greater investigation. Now, the statement that did come out did clarify. It said, this isn't drawing any conclusions. This is a statement of how they see the facts happening at that time. So this investigation is still very much in the early days.
Important to note that in that preliminary report from DHS to Congress, no reference to Alex Pretti brandishing that 9mm firearm. President Trump said, we talked about it yesterday, Ian, intends to de-escalate a bit. Is there any evidence of that? What do things look like in Minneapolis today?
It doesn't seem like there's really any de-escalation at the moment, because at the end of the day, the escalation, these tensions and these points of conflict come when agents are out in the community and they're going after people who are undocumented, and you have members of the community who are going out at the same time, and you can have this friction between the two. That's what happened when we saw the killing of Renee Good and Alex Pretti. It was out in these community operations, not in these grand big protests that have taken place. And so as long as those operations continue, you can still expect to have this friction that continues. Now, we're in the middle of the week. It's cold. The weekend's coming up. There are other calls for protests. So that will be a big test of how, if the situation has de-escalated. Major?
Ian Lee, appreciate it very, very much.